The number is $10 million. The man saying it is not shouting. He is not threatening. He is sitting across a folding table in a warehouse in Nuevo Laredo at 2 in the morning, reading from a ledger the way an accountant reads from a spreadsheet. And his voice has the particular calm of someone who has said this exact number to other people in other warehouses and watched every single one of them understand, eventually, that the number is not negotiable. His name is Salcedo. You have 90 days. Let's go back 3 years. You are a logistics broker in Laredo, Texas. That is what it says on your tax return. What it actually means is you move freight across the US-Mexico border for companies that need goods transported without asking too many questions about the goods. 4 trucks, 6 drivers, quarterly taxes filed with the IRS like a man with nothing to hide. Your business is legitimate, 80% of it. The other 20% is where the money is. It starts the way these things always start, not with a choice, but with a number. A client you've been hauling auto parts for introduces you to a man who needs bulk shipments moved from Monterey to a warehouse in San Antonio. The cargo is listed as industrial cleaning supplies. The pay is $40,000 per shipment. Your normal rate for a load that size is $6,000. You do not ask what is in the boxes, because $40,000 answers every question a man with 4 trucks and a mortgage is capable of asking. You file the answer away somewhere you won't have to look at it directly, and you back the truck up to the loading dock. The first shipment goes clean. So does the second. By the 5th, you have made $200,000 in 3 months. You pay off your trucks. You put a down payment on a second warehouse. You buy your wife the car she has been looking at for 2 years and watching the price on without saying anything. You tell her business is good. She doesn't ask which part. The shipments become routine, 2 per month, $80,000 flowing through your company books as premium freight contracts. Your accountant doesn't question it because you pay him enough not to. Your drivers don't question it because same reason. Nobody questions anything when the money has made every question feel like ingratitude. 18 months in, you get ambitious. A contact in Houston surfaces with an offer. Large shipment. Enormous margin. $500,000 for a single run. He is not connected to Salcedo's organization. He is independent. You take the deal because $500,000 is the kind of number that makes a man believe he is smarter than the system he is operating inside. Here is what you do not understand yet. You use Salcedo's supply chain to source the product without telling Salcedo. You use Salcedo's routes. You use Salcedo's border contacts. You use infrastructure that was built by people who will notice every gram that moves through it, because that is precisely why they built it. You are skimming from the cartel. You do not call it that. Calling it that would require you to admit what you are actually doing. So you call it an independent business opportunity, and you watch $500,000 land in an account you set up specifically for this purpose, and you feel like a genius for approximately 11 days. On day 12, Salcedo calls. He does not sound angry. That is worse. The warehouse in Nuevo Laredo is not a negotiation. It is an accounting. Salcedo opens a ledger. He knows about the Houston deal, the exact volume, the exact route, the exact dollar amount. He knows because the border contacts you used reported to him within 24 hours of the crossing. You were never operating independently. You were operating inside a system that sees everything that moves through it, because seeing everything is how it survives. He does not care about the $500,000 you made. He cares about the precedent. If you can skim, anyone can skim. And if anyone can skim, the entire supply chain loses integrity. The $10 million is not a debt for what you stole. It is a penalty for what you threatened. He explains the math. $500,000 for the product you diverted. $1.5 million for the breach of trust. $8 million for the organizational exposure your freelance operation created. You want to argue that $8 million in organizational exposure is not a real number. But the man across from you has a gun on the table and a calculator in his hand. In this room, his math is the only math that counts. 90 days. He is being generous, he says. He makes sure you know it. Other men who did what you did were not given 90 minutes. The terms: 10 million in cash, installment deliveries to locations he will specify, no wire transfers, no cryptocurrency, no negotiation. Miss a payment and the penalty is not financial. He does not elaborate. He doesn't need to. You drive back across the border at 4 in the morning. You pull over on the shoulder of I-35 and you vomit on the asphalt in the dark. Not from fear, from math. You have approximately $600,000 in liquid assets. Your business is worth maybe $400,000 if you sold everything tomorrow. Your house has $200,000 in equity. Your wife's retirement account has $180,000. If you liquidated every single thing you own, including things your wife does not know are at risk, you could assemble roughly $1.4 million. You are $8.6 million short, and you have 90 days. The first 2 weeks are denial. You tell yourself 10 million is an opening position, that Salcedo is a businessman, and businessmen negotiate. You reach out through your original contact. The message comes back in 3 days. The number is final. There is no counteroffer. There is no payment plan. There is 10 million, or there is the other thing. Week 3, you start liquidating. You sell the second warehouse. You sell 2 trucks. You sell the car you bought your wife, and tell her you are restructuring the business. She looks at you the way a woman looks at a man who has been lying and just started doing it badly. She does not know the specifics, but she can feel the architecture of the lie shifting underneath the house she lives in. Something load-bearing has given way. She can feel the floor moving. You pull $180,000 from the retirement account. Early withdrawal penalty. You don't care about penalties anymore. You care about days. You make the first installment, $1.2 million in cash packed into duffel bags delivered to a storage unit in McAllen. Salcedo's people count it. They confirm receipt. 88 days remain. 8.8 million outstanding. You start borrowing, not from banks. Banks ask questions and require collateral you no longer have. You borrow from people in the freight industry who owe you favors. From a cousin in Dallas who thinks you're investing in a fleet expansion. From a man in Houston who charges 15% monthly interest and doesn't ask what the money is for because he already knows. In 4 weeks, you assemble another 800,000. Second installment, 8 million remaining, 58 days left. You are running out of people to borrow from. You are running out of assets to sell. You are running out of lies to tell your wife, who has started asking questions you cannot answer without detonating the life you built together. She finds a bank statement. She sees the retirement account is empty. The conversation that follows is the worst 40 minutes of your life. You tell her the truth. Not all of it. Enough. Enough to watch her face move through confusion, then fear, then something that looks like grief for a person who is still standing in front of her, but is already gone. She takes the children to her mother's house in Austin. She tells you she needs time. What she means is she needs distance from the blast radius. You are alone in a house that is about to be sold from underneath you. 40 days. $8 million. You begin doing things that 3 years ago you would not have believed yourself capable of. You run shipments for Salcedo at no charge. Free labor as partial credit against the debt. Each run reduces your balance by $100,000. He allows it. But the shipments are no longer industrial cleaning supplies. They are product. Real product. Unambiguous, undeniable, federal mandatory minimum product. You are no longer a logistics broker who looked the other way. You are a drug runner working off a debt at gunpoint. 6 shipments in 3 weeks. 600,000 credited. 7.4 million remaining. 19 days. Day 75. A man you have never seen before walks into your office. Polo shirt. Khakis. He looks like someone's neighbor from a subdivision. He sits down and places a federal badge on your desk. DEA. 14 months of surveillance. GPS tracking on your trucks, recorded calls, financial records, surveillance footage. Enough to put you in federal prison for 25 years. Then he tells you they don't want you. They want Salcedo, the supply chain, the border contacts, the distribution network, the financial architecture that moves money from American streets back to Monterey. They are offering you a deal, full cooperation, testimony, names, dates, routes, dollar amounts. In exchange, witness protection, new name, new city, your wife and children relocated with you, your charges reduced to a single count of conspiracy, recommended sentence of 5 years, 3 with good behavior. You sit in your office and look at the badge on your desk. 15 days remain on Salcedo's clock. 7.4 million you cannot pay. If you don't pay, Salcedo kills you. If you don't cooperate, the DEA imprisons you for a quarter century. If you cooperate, Salcedo will try to kill you anyway, but you'll be in a box the government controls, instead of a box the cartel controls. Every option ends in a cage. The only variable is who holds the key. You take the deal. You sign papers that erase your name before the ink dries on the last page. For the next 6 months, you wear a wire, make deliveries, and feed the DEA every piece of information you accumulated over 3 years of moving freight for people who would kill you for exactly what you are doing right now. You smile at men who would put a bullet in you if they knew what was in your chest pocket. You answer their calls. You make their runs. You count down days. The operation brings down Salcedo and 23 members of his network. Largest border trafficking bust in South Texas in a decade. Your name never appears in the press. You are confidential informant CI-14, a number where a name used to be. They relocate you to a city you have never visited, in a state you have never thought about. Your wife comes. She brings the children. She does not bring forgiveness. She brings the math. 2 kids in school. A new identity that doesn't include her professional history. A marriage with a DEA handler as a permanent third party. She looks at you across the kitchen table in a rented house with furniture that belongs to the federal government. I don't know who you are, she says. She is right. The man who sat across from Salcedo is not the man who sat across from the DEA agent. Neither of them is the man sitting in this kitchen, pretending to be someone whose name he learned 3 weeks ago. You are nobody, 3 times over. You are alive. Your family is intact. The debt is gone. Salcedo is in federal custody. And you are sitting in a kitchen that is not yours, in a life that is not yours, with a name that is not yours. The only thing you actually own is the knowledge that everything you lost was purchased with a single decision made at 2 in the morning in Laredo, Texas, when $40,000 sounded like an answer. It wasn't an answer. It was an invoice, with interest that compounds in blood. And the balance, as it turns out, is always more than you have. The story is fiction, but along the US-Mexico border, logistics companies are recruited into cartel supply chains every year through exactly this pattern. A payment too large to question, a favor too small to refuse, and a debt too large to survive. At what point did you realize there was no way out? Drop a comment. I read every one. Subscribe. The next file opens soon.